Are there still people out there? Do we know? Mart Gater dursa. It's quiet here, but you know, if you want to be warmer, I suggest you move up to the front. Okay, just move up to the front, please. All right, I'll leave it to you. That's fine. Feel free. You give me the signal when to start. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Pariegak, Hayastanin, Los Angeles, and Iraganuchamich. Welcome, everyone, to a presentation of the many, many things that AMAA does in Armenia, our homeland. And it's a distinct honor and a blessing for me to have to host this event, as well as to welcome recent friends, Aren, Narek, and Suren from Armenia, whom I met just a few months ago. And it was a joy to meet them, and I hope to see them over there again at some point. I don't want to belabor or delay their presentations, but I'm very grateful that we were able to do this. So thank you, Serge, for thinking of this idea, and for you guys for putting this together. Without further ado, Mr. Serge Buchakjian, please come on up.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Badveli, and the good evening also goes to those who are watching online, and this session is also being recorded. So first and foremost, let me thank APC, Badveli Joe, Margaret, the Board of Elders for hosting us tonight. It's a rare occasion for a couple of reasons. First, it is rare that I'm here in town myself, but other than that, we have the pleasure of having amongst us three team members from Yerevan, from Armenia. Aren Dermenjan, who represents the AMAA in Armenia and does a superb job there, and Narek Tutkhalian, who heads up operations, and last but not least, Suren Sahagyan, who handles all PR aspects of things. The other reason why I would say it's a rare occasion is a lot of people, if not all of you, know a little bit about the AMAA, maybe more than just a little bit, but a lot of people don't know the totality of what we do there, all the different programs that we have, and most of all, the impact that we're making on people in Armenia. So it's rare to have, you know, three gentlemen here who are going to review exactly that. What is our, not just our presence, but what we do there and the impact that we have on people, young and old. So with that, I'll just turn it over to, I think, Suren is going to go first. Say a little bit about yourself, and then we go on from there.
Thank you, Mr. Buchakjian, and thank you for this opportunity. Good evening, everyone. It's a great privilege to be here with you this wonderful evening, and I have honor with my colleagues to talk about AMA's work in Armenia. My name is Suren Sahagyan. I work at the AMA's Yerevan office as Public Relations and IT Manager, and we have a wonderful team in Yerevan, and each member of this team is an absolute expert in his field, whether it's photography, videography, graphic design, user experience, etc. As for me, I personally started my journey of faith back in 1996 when I was 6 years old, attending Armenian Evangelical Church Sunday School, summer camps, and I remember when the Sunday school teachers were asking kids, which songs would you like to sing? We were shouting, Inna Sunna. We were shouting Inna Sunna, referring to the song number 90 of Balabanyan Yerkaran, which says, Uko perkarar ku srdits այնով կյանքիս ընթացքը ես քեզ նվիրեմ. My favorite cartoon, I remember, was the Superbook, Kirk Krotz, with the touching voice of our late colleague, AMA's longtime press secretary, Andranik Mardoyan, with whom later I had the privilege to work with, and we actually learned a lot from him. He was a man of discipline, truly. That was a great thing. And not only this. So being a staunch evangelical became a part of my identity and my mentality. And during the years, I saw that there is some misconception in our society about Armenian Evangelical Church and who we are and what we are doing and what we believe. And I saw that there is a real issue in this because especially when they were shooting on the border, you know, Armenia. Now it's calm, but we had security issues with our neighbors. And in these situations, we need national unity more than ever. But when this hatred is emerging because of this misinformation that this community does bad things, etc., this is a real issue. And I decided that I will fight against this split among our society and our nation, and how you can fight about misinformation. Only light can overcome the shadow, yes? So I decided that I will shed light about who Armenian evangelicals are, what they believe, what they do. And then we, with our friends, founded two websites. The first one was called crossnews.am, and the second one was called protestant.am. These sites were covering the activities of Armenian evangelicals worldwide. And also we were publishing interviews with ministers, etc. So the people get to know about our activities and what we are doing. Later in 2016, I learned about a job opportunity at AMA's Armenia office, and I immediately sent my CV without hesitating even a second. And after months of interviews and probations, I was chosen among hundreds of applicants, and I was hired to improve the image and reputation of the organization. So 10 years later, I am happy that I am still here, and I can say that AMA is my second home. Of course, my wife thinks that it's first home to me, not the second. Yeah, because I spent much time at the office. Yeah, we are working hard, and I think that under Aren's leadership, we have succeeded in a lot. For example, 2 years ago, we did a major comprehensive rebranding of AMAA, and it was not just about aesthetics. This was a really strategic move aimed at bringing more professionalism and consistency and unity in our community. For example, why is visual identity very important? Because now we are at the milestone that when people see our aqua green color of our logo, and they start to think about AMA. This is really an achievement. And back in 2016, I was the only staff member was responsible for public relations. Now, as I said, we have a huge team, and we are doing good work in different aspects, like in videos and publications, and also some space branding. We put names on the buildings, and I invite you all to visit our Camp Hankavan, which was rejuvenated recently. It's a really wonderful place, and picturesque highlands of Armenia, so you will gain rest there, both physically and spiritually. We don't talk actually a lot about our work, and some government members were recently at our Camp Ankavan grand opening, and one thing that they all mentioned that was AMA doesn't work, doesn't speak loudly about what they do, but they are doing much for our country and our nation. So we are together working boldly toward our vision to have a world-class publicity in all aspects for all Armenian evangelical institutions worldwide, and to make AMA a flagship organization that every Armenian will be proud of. We believe in this. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here. It is very encouraging to see an Armenian church in US and have a speech here. I'm going to share my story, how I started my journey with AMAA, because I think it is a very nice story and can encourage others in Armenia, worldwide. My first connection with the AMAA and the Evangelical Church of Armenia began back in 1999 when I started to participate in Sunday services in my small hometown called Tallinn. It's a small town in Aragazotan region. During those years, I also participated in summer camp organized by AMAA. Where I came to know God not only as a Savior, but also the one I could serve through my life. But unfortunately, many years later, AMA had decided to close the church and office in my hometown Tallinn, and our paths separated for a time. But God had prepared another blessing for me. The organization where I worked World Vision sent me to study social work in Yerevan State University. And then in there I met my future wife Anaid, because the AMA, she worked for AMA, she works for AMA, and the AMA sent her to study social work as well. That's how connection began again. Back in 2019, my wife and I were in Lebanon for our honeymoon, and my wife was invited to Camp Kachak as a speaker, where it was there we met Aren, who had just received an offer to join AMA Armenia. Aren served that time in a camp as a camp leader. We don't know each other before, but we immediately connected. We talked about Armenia, about the challenges our country faces, about faith and services. That short conversation somehow stayed in my heart. A few months later, in September, I met Aren in Yerevan, already in airport. From that day, our connection started to deepen, and between 2019 2021, we often talked about how I could one day bring my contribution to AMA as a part of the team. At that time, I was working at World Vision, where I had spent 7 meaningful years, a job truly loved, full of purpose, stability, and lovely, inspiring colleagues. Living was not easy decision, but I felt that God was opening another door for me to serve. And what made me happy was that I wasn't leaving faith behind. I was continuing through AMAA, which quickly became more than a workplace, it became a calling. Sometimes for people who don't deeply know about our organization, about AMAA, it might look like just another NGO. But I always love to remind them, and I'm proud that AMAA is the largest diaspora-based organization in Armenia, and I think in worldwide, with around 400 employees only in Armenia. A school, kindergartens, day centers, camp across the country, and a lot of other construction and social programs that we have. It's not easy to manage an organization of this size, to lead 400 different individuals, each with their own story, to listen to their needs, share and create vision with them, to understand the challenges of our regional offices, and every day to read heartbreaking stories of families in need. We often carry those emotions with us. Why try to find solutions to make things better, and sometimes it's heavy. But then we looked around and we see we are still standing strong and proud as leaders who can look back and say we made a difference. And that is something we can all share with you today. As operation manager, my role is connect all these moving parts from construction and finance to HR, procurement and logistics, and make sure that every project and every dollar brings real impact to people's lives. I have two privileges to oversee projects that touch thousands of the Hankavan camp, day centers, church renovations, and housing programs for displaced families. But what inspired me most are not the numbers, the reports, it's the people behind them. The children in our centers, the families rebuilding their lives, and our staff who serve faithfully every single day. For me, operations is not about the management, it is about stewardship, taking care of what God has entrusted to us and turning those blessings into hope. Looking back, I see how our unexpected meeting at the camp in Lebanon changed the direction of my life. And today, standing before you, I'm thankful to God, to Aren, who gave me this chance to be present here and to be part of the AMAA big family. Together, we continue to build not only programs and buildings, but lives, communities, and future filled with hope. Thank you very much.
Welcome to one of the most beautiful corners of Armenia, Camp Hankavan. These campgrounds have served the AMAA community for decades. As the home of AMAA's flagship summer camp Shorig, it has welcomed more than 55,000 children over the years. Many of those children have created their most cherished memories right here, learned more about themselves and God, and have found deeper purpose for their lives. Indeed, for many of us, it's like a second home. But now, we want to open it up for others. And that's exactly why we decided to make Camp Hankavan even better by fully renovating and upgrading all of its facilities. Let's take you on a quick tour. We begin with the main auditorium, which has recently undergone a major makeover. It can now comfortably seat over 300 people, making it ideal for large gatherings, performances, or presentations. Following the newly built pathway, you'll see several new amenities, including a professional football field, a tennis court, and our bright and inviting mushroom pavilions. Next is the brand new campfire area built for everyone to come together, warm up, and share stories under the stars. The girls and boys buildings have also received a fresh cosmetic update. These buildings continue to house hundreds of summer campers at a time, and they've never looked better. We then come to the conference building, fully renovated and equipped with modern, comfortable guest rooms. It also features a dedicated conference room perfect for company retreats, workshops, or team building events. And the beautiful terrace porch? It'll make your morning coffee 10 times better. Just a short walk away is the dining hall, which has also been fully modernized. It's now capable of serving hundreds of guests at once with fresh, delicious meals. This renovation was made possible thanks to the generosity of the Darakjan family. Outside the dining hall, you'll find our newly renovated guest house, updated with all the modern comforts to ensure a relaxing and memorable stay. One of the most exciting new additions is Starlink-powered high-speed internet. The entire campground is now connected, ensuring reliable, fast connectivity no matter where you are on site. With its fresh renovations, modern amenities, and upgraded infrastructure, Camp Hankavan is now fully equipped to host a wide variety of cultural, spiritual, educational, and corporate events, all while keeping the warmth, community, and spirit that have defined it for generations. Its key strength lies in its all-in-one approach, bringing together accommodations, dining, recreation, workspaces, and nature in a single, unified location. Welcome to Camp Hankavan. At the heart of the AMAA is a calling, a mission driven by an enduring love. A love rooted in faith, shaped by history, and alive in the people of this sacred land. That's why we build schools. That's why we open the doors of clinics. That's why across Armenia we've created spaces where community and faith grow side by side. That's why we offer more than aid. We offer tools to rebuild, to rise, to live with purpose. That's why we invest in the dreams of our youth, opening paths to education and to a future filled with promise. That's why we care for every child, so they may grow in joy, strength, and integrity, all under God's loving guidance. For more than 30 years, this has been AMAA in Armenia, to serve with compassion, to uplift with dignity, to walk in love, quietly guided by something greater than ourselves. Because when love leads, even the smallest act can shape the future.
I'm going to be I'm going to try to be closer to the screen, so I hope this is okay for everyone. Good evening, and we're so glad to be here this evening. The whole trip to the US was planned around this event as well, thinking that it would be important for us to share with you tonight the different aspects of what we do in Armenia and how important it is for our community here as well in the East Coast to know how much our work has grown over the years, where we are at the present, and where we plan to go in the coming years. First of all, thank you to my colleagues, and they've accompanied me this time. I used to be mostly coming by myself in the past years, and this time was quite different with them being by my side. Suren actually forgot to mention one thing about his very interesting qualities, and one of them is he's a grandmaster at chess. So anyone who would like to challenge him right after this session is quite welcome, but I don't advise it because he's quite good. There are a lot of Surens and Naregs at the Yerevan office, generally in Armenia, and I wish you could have a chance to meet every single one of them. Very dedicated, very driven, loving the AMAA, what the AMAA represents, and I'm amazed at the level of ownership they continue to show. Sometimes we think, you know, the AMAA is here, it's ours, and then we see how much, you know, more than 30 years in Armenia, how much people have also bought into the idea of the AMAA, how much they love the AMAA, and that's very evident amongst our staff. So we're going to do a presentation here tonight, and I'm hoping this is not a very formal setting where I'm going to be speaking, and anytime feel free to stop me. And I'm hoping for a Q&A at the end as well, so prepare your questions if you have any. As you know, the AMAA is active in 23 countries, and I think that number is growing as we do new investments in people's lives and new countries. But it's always been the case as to how Armenia is, Armenia gets the lion's share, so to speak, in terms of both budgetary and resource-wise. And that's not a coincidence. That's how things were set up, because AMAA was founded in 1918 to aid Armenians around the world after the events of 1915. And for a long time, the relationship was based on AMAA reaching out from afar and aiding whoever was around the world and in Armenia, up until the point where there was the tragic events of 1988, the earthquake in Spidak, and how that affected the whole planning around Armenia, how that prompted the AMAA to start thinking about newer ways to reach Armenians. And these are photos of how, after the earthquake, boxes were sent through different cargo planes. The AMAA News with its old look, sharing the cover. And this all led to the opening of AMA's first and only branch to date, which is in Armenia, and we do not have any other branches besides Armenia. And we've been established in Armenia since 1991. So 1988, the response, and then being established. So we're talking about around 34 years of service inside the country. And I'm going to give a quick recap of the projects that we've done during this period and see where we are at the current moment. So I think most of you are familiar with the sponsorship program, which is, I think, our oldest project. Early 90s, set up to aid families through financial input and through programs that span into different seasons. Christmas Joy, which is also something that sponsor children participate in, and then coming to camp as well. It's a whole big package. At the moment, our staff has grown to 282. Yes. Quite a lot, and that's not including the school, which is 96 on its own. Might I also insert the notion that we had almost 65 people in Artsakh as well, and that was not in this number. We retained around 10 people from that number. And now the Evangelical Church of Armenia as well as a separate entity, and the pastors are employed there. So we're doing scholarships for university students. We're working with a lot of Artsakhtsis, more than 10,000. Don't pass too fast, yeah. More than 10,000 Artsakhtsis have come in during this period to receive aid from the AMAA. So different stuff between housing and livelihood. I think you quite know much about Project Revive, but we're also planning towards the Tavush project, which is permanent homes, and how we can tie these families to our communities around the church and the AMAA. Medical missions, as you know, we've been doing this for 16 years, and a group of doctors come from the United States. They join up with the local doctors in Armenia, and we serve a lot of people in just 1 week by setting up camp at one of the churches around Armenia. We're graduating students already. This has been something that has been built up slowly because our schools were slowly being added upon each other with the classes, and then getting to grade 12. We now have a graduating class every year. Milk Fund is this familiar project as well. So Milk Fund has also been one of the oldest projects from the early 90s, and this is basically powdered milk that's been given to mothers who cannot breastfeed, and helping them in that way. More than 500 children yearly benefit from this. We have day centers. They're called Shor, and this is an after-school program that we do. And a lot of vulnerable children come from abusive families, from different socially vulnerable families, and they are helped to overcome these issues by social workers and psychologists, professionals in the field. We have 2 clinics at the moment, one in Yerevan and one in Spidag, and this is where free medical care is provided to patients coming from our different beneficiary groups. As you saw in the video, camp has been going on for a long time, despite the renovations, and we've counted the number to be over 55,000 over so many years since we've been established there. We have a special budget line for Syria and Lebanon Lifeline, which is basically people who are ready to relocate from Syria and Lebanon back to the homeland, and how we provide different assistance to them. Finally, ECA is the Evangelical Church of Armenia. This is how AMA has supported the birth and the, let's say, the proliferation of the church, and going into 22 churches at the moment. AMA supports them by financing their operations, supporting their training, building up structures for the ECA, and continuing to advise by being on their board. So all this comes together to a very pivotal point at this moment, where, you know, in the early 90s, Reverend Moses Janbazian was there. That's a picture with the Veapar. And we set up camp in Armenia and did all these wonderful works. And we had a very fitting tribute to him back last month, right outside our office building, by planting a tree in his memory. It had actually been 25 years to his passing on that day. And his wife, Louisa, was there along with her family members and our leadership, and we had a very nice event. So this is where I want to shift a bit into where we are in the present and where we're thinking about going in the coming years to come. And a lot of the projects I just shared were designed in a way to help Armenia in a certain way, in a certain situation. As I mentioned, Armenia was in a very difficult place in the early 90s. And in those days, certain projects were needed in order to help people in a certain way. Those needs have changed today. I'm not saying Armenia is this perfect place, so it still suffers from a lot of issues, but we do notice the improvement. We do notice that there's an advancement in a lot of areas. People's lives are built differently at this time. And whatever came in the early 90s was basically to help people survive. People didn't have food to eat. People didn't have clothes to wear. People struggled even for the smallest thing to financially make it to the other day. And we can proudly say that this is not the case today. This is a good thing for Armenia. We're happy that slowly we're getting out of that situation. Of course, poverty still prevails. But how do we rethink about what we're going to do in the coming years if this is the current situation? And it's an uphill walk in the sense that we feel that things are going to continue to improve as well. And how do we react to this situation? So the whole relief situation that we were involved in continues to exist today. It's a very important part of our project. But we've also did a transition from relief to development. So development means mostly how do we help people help themselves rather than just help them from where they are. And today we're focused on the following project pillars that we call them, which is education, social health, economic development, and spiritual cultural projects. And it's a very interesting dynamic where in the present we have so many projects all along these 5 project pillars, all around Armenia. That right side is what Artsakh used to represent, and we were quite active there too. And the small dot can mean anything, can mean like even one beneficiary, but we do take that into account. Or it can mean a group of beneficiaries, it can mean a church, it can mean a school, a kindergarten. And the crosses are the churches that we have spread around. So, this is the current structure that, all these different dots represent our projects. Kindergarten, scholarship, milk fund that I mentioned, sponsorship, show centers, ECA, summer camp. And as Serge mentioned, it's so hard to get all this into, one briefing. Like, how do you tell people what we're doing? And we're doing so much, and there's so much more you can still do. I mean, there's not enough good you can actually do. But at this point, I think it was a couple of years ago, we brought in an analyst and asked her to run an impact evaluation for these projects. And not getting into much detail, but among these projects, the highest scoring project was the school in terms of impact. Impact meaning how our lives changed in those situations. And really, the Avarician school, as most of you know it, is a beacon of hope in that area where it exists. Children coming from families who basically are the most impoverished in Yerevan's 12 districts. This is one of them, Malatya Sebastia. And our structure and our model of the school is done in a way where they come in and their lives are basically changed because this is a private school setup, and so much is available to them very accessible in all ways possible. And at the same time, it's tuition free. So imagine providing private education to children who come from very difficult backgrounds, and they all enjoy that thanks to the AMAA and our donors. So when the school had the highest impact score, this was a basis for us to rethink, where we want to see ourselves. And then we went into our history as Armenian evangelicals. And turns out we've done so much work in education. We've had over 300 educational institutions, starting from Constantinople, Bolis, to Syria, to Lebanon, to the United States here, back to Armenia. And a personal story here to share quickly was, I was in one of those institutions in school. It used to be called the Armenian Evangelical Central High School. And most of my classmates were basically non-evangelical Armenians, so apostolics. And something that I keep remember is them coming, not to me, but in general, just speaking their minds about how Armenian evangelical schools are known, even to everyone, that they provide quality education. And I've heard this, across the board, and it's something to build upon. So this was also something that we based our idea on. And then seeing where we are today. Haigazian University is the only Armenian higher education institution outside Armenia. There's no other. Merdinian School over at the West Coast is doing a fantastic job as well. Avedisian School, as I mentioned, and something called the Lily Kindergarten that was launched very recently, and I'll talk more about that. So all this prompted us, the history, the impact score between all the projects, and where we are right now. This prompted us to think about schools in a different way, how we can emphasize on schools, have this streamlined with our other projects falling under this umbrella of the school. So how it's looking right now, based in contrast to the other model, is having the school and trying to consolidate our projects under this umbrella and having something called the cluster model schools. So what does this entail? This is a more focused and aligned approach, and it's designed to have children benefit from our projects in a way where the impact is very amplified in each sector. And we do have that issue right now where, you saw the map, how sporadically diverse it is. And sometimes we do have projects where we don't have the highest effectiveness. So in this regard, this will help that issue, and we will be more decisive in these areas. And a very important component here is the spiritual component. And with Armenia having the setup that it has, it's been a challenge for us to insert this in all our projects due to some constraints that there are in the country. In this way, in the school, we found that when things are consolidated and our projects serve a big picture together, this is where we can insert this and our values into the lives of the children that we want to affect. And this is where the camp also comes in. By streamlining our projects, the camp will start serving the beneficiaries that are coming from the cluster model. So imagine how great it will be for thousands of children receiving education, humanitarian aid, health attention as well, throughout the year at their school. And then this is going to be like the climax of their year, when they come to camp, and the camp is like this connecting hub for all our projects. So with the renovation done recently, this kind of fits also into the vision, and this is where we currently are. This is 22 churches, 20 offices, and offices are a lot of times coincided with the church buildings at this moment. So again, coming from our early efforts in the 90s, how aid was distributed also from the churches, this is fresh news and how we're trying to better address issues and not have, keep the other slide please, yeah. Not have aid being a drawing factor for people to attend church. We want people to attend church because of spiritual thirst, because they want to know God. And this was the way to build up the churches. And now we're seeing it's a good time to have our projects being done in a different way. So this is an example of a cluster. And actually we've started implementing this in Yerevan. So in Yerevan, of course, we have our Bahramyan office, head office, but besides that, we had a show day center up on Nork. We have the Ainilian clinics, that's still there. We have the school, of course, and the Milk Fund is there. Sponsorship is all around. What the cluster school model does is how the school absorbs all these projects under its umbrella. And we've done that with the school. We're doing plans right now with the Ainilian Clinic, and very excited about that too, to have a structure come in. And this is how potentially it's going to look. So the school will have its own show day center, its own school-based health center. We're thinking about how to integrate more of sponsorship under the school. And Christian education is something that's already there, and then by this move we're emphasizing it even more. So this is how the previous slide that you saw with the dots all over, this is how things will move. So the blue dots are the school clusters that we're talking about. And look at how they free up the churches to do their work and how they get consolidated under the big dots, which are the, let's say, visionary schools of the future. So, by having this, we will have the same 22 churches in a more healthy setup. We will have 5 school replicates. We have 1 at the moment. And the campsite, which is the green triangle in the middle, kind of also geographically convenient that it's in the middle. So, go back a bit. Some good news in this regard, because as we were formulating this vision, I think it was prepared in a way where we were blessed with some very generous donor families who came in and believed in the work that we were doing. And when we talked to them about this idea, they got very excited. And I'm happy today to report that the second school project has been confirmed by 2 donor families. We're already going to have, we're already going to have the red dot that's on the right side of the lake. That's Vartinis. So that's quite advanced in negotiations. We're hoping to wrap it up soon, and this is kind of becoming a reality. It's no longer a vision that we've been discussing with the team. By the way, the whole Yerevan team is waiting for us to get back. I'm just the mouthpiece for ideas that we came up together. And they're waiting for us to get back and share the news of how well this was received also in LA last week. So this project has been in the works. We've pitched it to donors. We've We've gotten partners to also buy into it. TUMO is partnering up with us, and they're going to put a TUMO box on campus. And to prepare for this project, the donor family gave us a wonderful idea to go ahead and start doing something in that city before the structure is up. So, next slide. This is a picture we took a month ago, and Serge and Anita are in the picture. If you can see our president and his wife, Dr. Darakchan. This was a visit to a place now called Lily Kindergarten. Lily representing the wishes of our donors who are covering the KG side. So this is an area where we were provided a free space in one of the government-owned spaces, and we remodeled it in a few months, and now it's catering for 40 kids. So starting operations early, letting them know, we're here to stay. We're building resources, not only to children, but also we've employed more than 15 staff members from Vartanis itself. So imagine how much of a great news this is for locals there, because they've been hoping for something like this to come up. This is a very overlooked area, both by the government and the private sector, everybody. And we were there. You remember how emotional the staff were, and yeah, everyone's really excited about what's happening. But well, most of all, we believe that we came a long way from the early 90s. We've done wonderful work, as Narek mentioned. We are the most, if we're not the biggest, we're the ones who do the most work, and I say that very humbly. Yet, we're always looking to improve. We're always looking to reassess our approach, trying to stay relevant to the changing times. And how can we reshuffle things to make sure we're getting the best out of what we're doing? And imagine a network of 5 schools. I mean, right now, can we go back to the map, Suran? Right, no, the other one. Yeah. Right now, we do have 1 school, but when it's 2, it's already a network. I mean, you don't need all 5 to be a network, but imagine one day, wishful thinking, I know, but it's not too far off. If we do manage this, imagine how much of a game changer this could be for the country. I mean, these schools will shape generations. They're going to instill our values into a whole new generation of Armenians who are going to come up year after year and change the whole country. So this is what we have to present today. I would like you to please ask questions, because I did cover a lot. Your support it means a lot to us. The fact that we have this huge donor base, a community here following every step that we do in Armenia is a blessing. And I really thank each one of you for coming tonight.
If you have a question, I'll come around. Thank you, Aaron. You have consolidated services around the school. Does that mean that adults are also benefiting, or just the students?
The schools are going to cater for more than the students itself. So it's a community center in a way where, if the clinic is there, let's say, it's also helping the parents of the children, and it's also catering for the community that's around it. So students at the school are the starting point, but these centers, to say, they're going to cater for communities, not just on campus.
Earlier, you had a number up there for ARTSOC. It said 10,000. Is that 10,000 all that's come from Artsakh, or what did that 10,000 number represent?
Suren, can you go back to that slide?
It was earlier.
Yes. Way early. So, if you know, from Artsakh, we had about an influx of 100,000.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We did not, I don't believe this number is what we did after the influx. So we've been working in Artsakh, that's it. We've been working in Artsakh for a very long time, since 96, if I'm not mistaken. And ever since those days, camps over there, kindergartens, and what we've done after the influx in Armenia, that's the number that it represents.
So how did this 10,000 get selected, or what, if, out of 100,000, what is this 10,000 getting?
They're getting, so it's been more than 2 years now for the exile. We've been providing them with 6 months housing, free housing, livelihood opportunities, so it's basically either setting up a small business for them, buying equipment, this and that, and then connecting them to our communities, the churches that we're setting up. So
I guess the last part of that is, how did you get selected for this?
they usually come to us, but we also had a very big database of beneficiaries that we dealt with in Artsakh, so it was kind of easy finding them again in Armenia, saying, we did work with you in Artsakh, where are you right now, and how can we help you? And the rest that just came by themselves.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Tavush project and who
Yes.
it's benefiting and the current status of it?
Sure. We do have another full presentation on that, but I'm not going to go too much into it. So when we did Project Revive that Alan just asked about, this was temporary housing. So we helped them with 6 months of housing, and then we moved on and let them try to pick up the mantle. With this project, it's more about permanent homes. So we're going to be building 8 houses. So it says 11 because we already gifted 3. We're building 8 houses that are going to be permanently gifted to families. These are going to be, a selection of families. So now we have this call to people to come and apply to this project, and then based on different criterions, we're going to select them. And it's going to be this very integrated project where we hope to settle Artsaksis long-term in Tavush. So Tavush is a village. I'm not talking about the region Tavush. It's a village inside that region, which is very close to Bert. Bert is somewhere we're very active in as well. It's right up on the north, very close to the border. And the idea is to help these families solidify their presence in this area. And currently we've acquired the land. We've applied for the change of zoning so that we can apply for construction permit. And we're hoping to hit the ground in spring 2026. Yes.
How many of the 10,000 are self-sufficient now after 2 years?
It's a difficult question to answer, but our monitoring says, after our project ends with them, we do monitor their situation. Our monitoring says they're doing much better than when we found them. The issue now is the government has kind of ended their stipend program. For 2 years, all Artsakh families received an amount per family member. At the moment, that stopped. So we're getting a new influx of requests. But we're also being careful not to do too much, because I think it's time for those families to start doing a lot themselves. It's not going to be easy, but I'm happy to report that 90,000 out of that 100,000 are in Armenia. They're based in Armenia. Some went and came back, and I think this is the final number we're going to be dealing with going forward. And it's so important to make projects, create projects that keep these people in place. Because, you know, today Armenia is facing a huge demographics issue. We have not even 3 million, 2.9 million for 30,000 kilometers, square kilometers. And most of the time when you drive in Armenia, you can notice it's empty lands. So we need at least 5 million. So now this is, let's say, okay, devastating news to lose Artsakh, but how do you deal with it? You have an influx of 100,000. You must do everything to keep them. That's it. One more.
My question is about the structure of the schools, the cluster schools that you're creating. Now, are these schools that go from preschool up to high school? And how about, for example, the Lily project that you have? Is that a preschool project for children?
So the Lily is something we're preparing right now, and then it's going to be transitioning to the main structure. All schools that I mentioned, all schools, cluster school models, we're planning for them to be K to 12. So that's the idea. I mean, Avedisian is K to 12, we're replicating the models.
Because I think for the communities, providing them with preschool, for example, several preschools that eventually feed into your schools, because the preschools very much help families that need to work. And then providing that kind of a service, I think, is a very effective way of connecting them with the whole mission of AMAA.
So besides the 5 schools, K to 12 schools, having other preschools around it, that's a great idea. I think we've done a lot of kindergartens. I mean, in Armenia, you know the setup. It's not like the United States or Beirut, where I'm from. Kindergartens are not integrated inside the schools. They're separate places. They finish kindergarten and they move on to another campus where it's the school. What we're doing with the Avedisian is already, you know, revolutionary in that sense, where, you know, they're on the same campus and people together, and you know, the benefits are very clear. You know, you have that very easy transition, and you don't lose your classmates, everything. So that was one of the reasons why we decided, you know, to keep this. But thank you for the recommendation. It's very important.
Okay.
Well,
thank you for your attention. And if this doesn't impress you, I'm not sure what will. And what will impress you even more is if you go and visit in person. For those of you who have not been there, have not visited, it's something else doing that. And I'm looking at Badveli Joe. He witnessed that himself. Going to a Shor center, for example, and seeing those kids, how they're, you know, being taken care of. And then the Lily kindergarten, the opening, it was the first day of school. And the kids were there, and they're such a warm atmosphere. And when the school was over, the kids didn't want to go home. They wanted to stay. I mean, that tells you something. And at the end of the day, children, they're the future. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. I hope this was informative in terms of knowing the overall aspect of what we do. It's not just one thing, two things. It's Aren keeps looking for the 25th hour in the day. There's quite a bit going on. And again, if you have not visited, please do. And if you do, we'll be happy to host you in our AMAA headquarters, and look forward to seeing you there. And thank you again, APC, for hosting us. And I think we have coffee and dessert waiting for us. Okay.